Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Pop Culture Minefield. Members only live. Um, we had a bit of a scheduling issue today. It happens, Mike had to do another show, and so we got bumped a little bit. And but we are here now, so I'm hoping that some of the members show up because we got Das Wolfen here. And Das Wolfen, you better have some damn good questions. I'm telling you right now, my friend. And our guest, Keith and I, is none other than the infamous Mike Barron.
Yes.
The nefarious Mike Barron and his orange balls. Welcome, Mike, back to the show. We love having you on, man. You're a great guy. And we are here to talk about, well, basically Thin Blue Line, because this shit's awesome. I'm going to share the link in the chat. And right now, the Indiegogo is at $22K, $22,130 to be exact. And it's moving along. You are at 276% of what you were going for. That's awesome.
When we hit 20, I dyed my hair blue. I have pictures. And if we hit 30, green. 40, mohawk. 50, shaved skull.
I got to tell you look badass with a mohawk.
These are the secret stretch goals, my friends, and they're real.
No, well, like kind of stretch goals, man. Do shit to your fucking body. Body modification. So, Mike, how are you feeling about the book so far?
Oh, I'm tickled pink with the book. I can't wait for it to get out there. Because once word gets out, there's going to be a huge demand for the book. I only hope we print enough, but we're probably going to have to go back to press at one time in the future. And the reason I say that is because the story is outstanding in every way. There's no lecturing. There's no scolding. It's all drama from the first page to the last. And every panel pops. There's not a wasted space in it. This is what I've been working for my whole life. And one of the things that keeps me going is I believe I'm a better writer every day. So I'm trying to write more. And as you know, Gerry, I don't know if we're going to get into this before the show is over, but you and I are working on a project, and I may have to mention that. But anyhow, Thin Blue Line was obviously inspired by the events of the summer of 2020 and the defund the police movement. And this is my response. 20 years ago, a story like this wouldn't raise an eyebrow, but now it's considered controversial, which is insane. You're either for the rule of law or you're not. So if you play that video, then people will know what it's about.
Yeah, we're big supporters of the men and women in blue. Both Keith and I, we support anybody who serves this country. And because we both have family, plus, I serve, but Keith has kids that served, and your dad, as I recall, too, right?
Yep.
Keith? Yep. So very service-oriented families. And Thin Blue Line, I think, is something interesting. Do you mind if can I show the trailer video?
Please.
All right.
Beginning with issue number 1, Mike Barron wrote Marvel's The Punisher for over 5 years, approaching it as a straight crime comic, without any superheroes, aliens, or robots. Over the course of 60 issues, Barron elevated the gritty anti-hero into one of the most popular and enduring characters in the Marvel Comics universe. Now he brings that same ultra-realistic intensity to his latest graphic novel, Thin Blue Line. In the middle of a long, hot summer, a police shooting ignites a city. Activists, opportunists, and provocateurs descend to riot, loot, burn, and kill. Thin Blue Line follows Officer Valeria Baca and her partner as their detail guarding the mayor turns into a battle for survival. Ride along on this harrowing tale of two brave law enforcement officers fighting for their community and their own survival in a world gone mad. Eisner winner Mike Barron has created an alarming tale that unflinchingly examines human fallibility on every level. Along with penciler Joe Arnold, himself a full-time police officer, and talented inker Jeff Slemons, they've created a moving and entertaining story ripped straight from today's headlines. Thin Blue Line exposes the defund the police movement and its consequences for society, but several comic book companies have refused to publish it. Now we're asking you to join the effort to distribute it independently and help support the men and women of law enforcement. Get your copy of the only graphic novel to offer an unflinching and not always flattering look at the men and women of law enforcement during a time when we need them the most. Not all heroes wear capes. It's a thin blue line between the rule of law and a world of chaos. Which side are you on? Thin Blue Line by Mike Barron. Order now on Indiegogo.
Thin Blue Line Comics, yes. Fucking cool shit, Mike. I'm stoked about this. I'm also stoked about working with you. And of course, working with you and I both is my good friend, Richard Bonk. Bonk and I love working together. And any chance we get to work together, we get excited. So we're working with you. And we're also, he and I are working together with our buddy, I can't say his real name, but everybody knows him as Script Doctor PhD. And with him, I think you'd be amused by it. It's basically a parody of Escape from New York, and it's saving Kris Kringle, and it's a comedy, but it's action oriented. And I said, I bet Mike would like that. Well, look who showed up, Zax.
Hey, how's it going?
How have you been? Zax is our director, so you can actually get off camera now, bitch.
You mean that we've been stumbling through this without a director?
Yeah, he shows up. I'm grateful that he showed up, to tell you the truth. I was like, oh my God, am I going to be able to do everything? So we've got Das Wolfen in the chat right now. He says, hail. He also says, looks awesome as fuck. And hail, Chad. Oh, that's deleted scene. That's our good friend. So we got at least 2 people watching right now, even though it says 0 watching up on the screen. That's really weird. We know 2 people are watching right now. So, Keith, take it over, man. I'm tired of always talking.
Hey,
I don't want to be the white man beating you down. Fucking take over the show.
Well, listen, Mike, as far as your current project, how long did it take you to come up with that?
Well, in the case of Thin Blue Line, the idea, bonk, just invaded my head, which is how I get most of my stories. They choose me, I don't choose them. Mm-hmm. But from the inset, I knew that I had to write about it. And because I've been doing it for so long, I understand story structure. The story is a dynamic narrative with a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I knew that I had to start with the protagonists, not as we see them at work, but as we see them at home, to show that they're regular people just like you and me. So the first scene in the book is Valeria testing for her brown belt in jiu-jitsu. And Joe, our artist, is an accomplished jiu-jitsu master. So the scenes of combat in this book, and there are several, are going to take your breath away. One of my things throughout my career is to portray martial arts in comics in an entertaining and dynamic manner, not just a fist or foot waving around, but to see the technique unfold in real time and understand what's going on. And needless to say, this is not so much punching and kicking as it is takedowns, joint locks, chokes, and things like that. And you'll see it on the very first page of the book. And then later on, when she gets into a fight for her life, it's a brutal and dynamic but very realistic fight. I love realistic fights. And by that, I mean the way they're choreographed by Bruce Lee or Donnie Yen without wires. The camera holds steady. You see the actors doing the actual work, going through the motions, and you know you're not being fooled. There's no trick photography. They know what they're doing. They're actually doing it. And that's the kind of martial arts I try to portray in my book. But it's not about martial arts. That's just a little part of it. A story is about many things. It's about the characters involved. It's about the milieu. It's about the narrative voice. And I use all those and everything else I can think of to maintain the reader's interest.
Well, congratulations. And look, you've been doing it great for decades. I really enjoy your work, especially
Thank you.
your work on Punisher.
Well, yeah, I wasn't a Punisher fan until you started writing it. And that's a fact. I didn't think he was that interesting a character. And then you turned him into something I wanted to read.
Well, the reader wants a protagonist with whom he can identify. And that means sometimes a hero, sometimes an anti-hero. But the thing about both heroes and anti-heroes is that they're good people. They know what's decent and they know what's wrong. The reader will feel cheated if, at the end of the story, evil triumphs.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree. And the function of this book too is, I like the fact that you brought in a law enforcement officer as an artist.
Well,
and he's
as
a really
I said,
good
I've
artist.
known Joe for many years, since long before he became a police officer, and he was always drawing.
It's good artwork. I like it.
Oh, yeah.
And what I like most of all is it's a passion issue. You work on things I consider to be passion projects. And I don't know if it's because once you hit, 45, careers take this change for us to where we start focusing on things we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
it
I've
feels
always
like
been
that's
lucky
what you do.
in that I've been able to work on what I want to do, as mainly my own characters, Nexus and Badger. But the change I've noticed in recent years is that I'm more pleased with my writing. I don't think years ago, and every writer knows this, you're going to write something, you think, oh man, is it good enough? Am I just faking it?
Right.
Should I put it out there? And I had those doubts too, but I no longer have those doubts because I see story structure. I see it in my head, and I understand what constitutes story, which means that everything that goes into that book, Thin Blue Line, is designed to entertain, to absorb you, to make you look and say, what's going on? I care about this. What is happening? And I think I did that, and it clicks and pops on every panel, which is what I shoot for. No wasted space, no wasted words.
Kyle wants to know, is there an update on the project with Gerry?
Well, I will talk about it a little bit, and that's if you think I'm turning comics on its head with Thin Blue Line and going against the narrative, wait till you see Private America.
I am so well. I like the name before, but I like this name better. Private America. It's a take on Captain America, which I like, because Captain America used to be a very pro-America character, and he lost that somewhere. And I like that you're playing with that. But best part is the primary character, I forget his name, is a Cuban American.
His name is Marcos.
Yeah. And it's like, how, I'm looking forward to seeing how people find a way to criticize it.
Oh, there's a scene in the book where you're going to come to that and you're going to laugh your ass off. You haven't read it yet, but Private America is going to make your head explode. Because if you wanted to see what I would do with the Punisher today, it's going to be in Private America. And Private America is also what I feel Captain America should be.
Yep. I agree. And I find it funny because I understand what you're talking about when something comes to you. When I came up with Vindicated Inc., it was literally just a single panel cartoon of two disabled veterans playing basketball and in wheelchairs, and one has a missing arm. And he makes the shot one-handed, turns to the other one, throws up his stump, and says, "Phantom Limb High Five." And because a guy did that in front of me, and it just, I was blown away by the dark humor of my fellow veterans. I am always blown away. And that, I drove 2 blocks to pay my rent, and back home, and I had the entire Vindicated Inc. story in my head. It
happens that way sometimes.
Yeah. So I totally get it.
Well, let me ask, if you were just starting out today, although knowing what you were knowing, what you've know now. In
Yeah.
what way would Nexus and Badger be different?
Well, those two I don't think would be that different.
Mm-hmm.
I think my prose has gotten a lot better. I couldn't write novels before, and now I can. That makes me happy because that's what I originally set out to do.
Cool.
What do you think happened that allowed that to happen? I mean,
Well, I went through a very difficult period in my life for 10 years where I couldn't get any work and had to take any job I could. This was right before and right after I moved to Colorado. I worked as a janitor. I worked unloading automobile bumpers. I worked packing mouse rugs in a factory. And during that time, I hardly wrote at all. And the reason I moved out here was because of my late wife. She said we had to move or she was going to die. So I moved and she died anyway. One day I came home and she was dead from an overdose of OxyContin and vodka. And that's one of the ways, very unfortunate, very sad, but that's how I came to know some local members of the police force. And from my experience, they were just wonderful people to me and they helped me get through it. And it's all for the good. I appreciate your thoughts on that, but I'm married now. I'm happily married to a woman I love. We've been married for
your
10
wife
years.
is awesome.
And
I love your dogs too.
3 dogs. At one point, I said, well, I have this idea for a novel about a satanic rock band that comes back from the dead. So I sat down, I started in again, and I just wrote, and I wasn't aware of the passage of time until one day I looked up and I said, holy shit, I got it. I understand what constitutes a novel. Most importantly, I understand what constitutes story. And many things constitute story, and I see them all. And I try to pack as many of them into a narrative as I can. And when I'm done, I look upon my works and I am pleased. Not like I used to be many years ago, because as I said, every writer has doubts. But now I don't have doubts. I don't let anything out of the house unless it's a home run.
Oh, I feel you on that. I totally do. And I'm looking forward to working on this. I read the script, and
but I've extended it, man. There's stuff in there.
Oh my God, I can hardly. So you've done edits. All right. So I'm looking forward to seeing your edits. As Hubert Humphrey would say, I'm pleased as punch.
It's got to be at least 48 pages to crowdfund it. Less than that, it's just a pamphlet. You're not going to get much excitement. But this is going to be a complete story cycle and an introduction, because I think this character has legs.
Well, I love that idea. And I look forward to talking to you in private about some of this stuff too, because I want to pick your brain on a lot of things. I'm sure Keith would like to do that. Go ahead, Keith. Pick his brains, you weirdo.
Fine. Well, listen. About this particular story.
Thin Blue Line.
Yeah, Thin Blue Line. Is there anything in there that, when you initially sat down to write it, that you didn't originally intend to put in there?
Always. And the reason I say that is that a writer has to surprise himself before it can surprise the reader. Now, I used to just sit down and wing it. There are very few novelists who can do it. Elmore Leonard was one. And by that, I mean they didn't write an outline. But now I'm a firm believer in outlines. And
he was definitely a stream of conscious writer.
Yeah. They can get very detailed. But the funny thing is that when I get a third of the way into the story, I usually veer wildly away from the outline. I still refer to it for its ideas, but a story will take on a life of its own. And as anybody writes knows, when you create a good character, at some point that character is going to turn around and tell you what he's going to do next.
Yep. And
Wow.
I've experienced it because I consider myself an artist first and a writer second, but I have those moments where I lose myself. Uh-oh, somebody's hungry. Is that Elvis?
Yeah, they're rioting. The damn dogs are rioting. I'm going to have to shut them out of the room, guys. Oh, hang on a minute. I got to shut them out. I'm not kidding.
Okay.
They'll get up here. They'll get in my face, and they're going to upset the screen. They're going to knock things over.
We were
Damn,
waiting
dog.
for this. We were
Spoiled.
waiting for this. Knew it was coming. Knew it was coming. I'm liking all that stuff on your banners back there. I love those. By the way, speaking of that, I think I told you I got the G.I. Joe cover. Look at you, combat ready. Did I tell you that I got the G.I. Joe cover?
No.
Yeah, because that commie prick isn't there anymore. And Tom righted it wrong and hired me to do the cover. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy to be back on G.I. Joe. I was hired 8 years ago. And they never used me during that guy's tenure. Now he's gone. So I'm finally going to get to do some artwork. I'm excited about it.
Good for you. You're just doing the cover, right?
Yeah, just the cover.
All right.
I can't, you know, if I did nothing but covers, I'd be happy to the most part. But I am a storyteller, so getting a chance to work with you because you're a friend. Before
you've seen a lot of it.
Yeah. So it's like I like working on things I want to work on, and I like to tell stories visually. So I'm looking forward to doing my books and your book and my buddy scriptwriter's book, because these are stories I want to tell. You know, even though you're telling it writing wise, I'll be telling it visually, and I like that. It's that amalgamation, the pairing of two great ideas coming together, and that's comic books. It's not like film. It's a little different than film in that usually one visionary is in charge of the movie. In this one, you have two visionaries, and it's the guy who wrote it, and your opinion matters. And it's different when you're making film because directors don't give a shit what the writers think.
Damn.
I know. But as a comic book artist, we always see ourselves as directors. But the fact is, I believe in the collaborative process because I like knowing what the writer is thinking at all times. And I think.
Hey, would you mind if I invited Chris Brawley on board?
No, go right ahead. If he's available, yeah.
Chris is the guy that is running the Thin Blue Line campaign, and he knows about Private America, and he's very excited about that too.
Here, I'm going to send you in the private chat the link to share with him.
I got it.
Oh, you got it already? Okay. Yeah, invite him. That'd be great.
Let's see if he shows up. He was just ragging me a minute ago, so hopefully he will.
Hey, while he's back screen, I want to bring him forward again, our director. Hey, Kyle. Kyle, wake up. That motherfucker's asleep.
I'm here.
Fuck you. Hey, I wanted to check. Did you have any questions for Mike?
Not right now.
Well, think of something. I'm going to put you back in purgatory.
I do have one question. I'm curious what the law enforcement community thinks of the books you're working on now.
Ooh, good question.
I'm so glad you asked me that because cops have been reaching out to me from all over the country. It's unbelievable. I had one cop write me and says, I can't tell you how much your book means to me and my son because they give him shit every day because his father's a police officer. I only wish you lived in Colorado so we could do a ride along. So I wrote him back and I said, I'm in Fort Collins. And, last week he came up for dinner with his family and he had told his department, it was a sheriff's department, about the book. And everybody there was so excited. They put together this big package for me, all these ride-along coins and patches, and a big blue flag was signed by every member of the department. And there was probably 100 of them. It was really very touching. I couldn't believe it. And every officer in the department is stoked.
That's great because there's still press or anything for
what?
Oh, you're fading out, Zach.
They're going to jump all over that, I would expect.
Yeah, you completely boogered out.
All right, wait. I know what's wrong here. I think.
Kyle, you might want to say everything over again because it didn't come through. Okay. I'm going to put him back.
Can you hear me?
Nope, he lost connectivity.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right.
Yeah, that was all Zach's. He was losing connection, and he got kicked. He'll be back in a minute. But
Did you hear
that
what
really was a good question. That's why I wanted to pull him forward because,
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, good. I don't
Yeah,
want to repeat
Congratulations. I mean, that is fantastic to have received all of that.
myself. Thank you.
Yeah, it's fair. Hey, are you going to be doing any cons this year?
Uh,
2022?
I don't know. I'm doing one here locally. I'm going to
Because I
have
was
to.
thinking we should get you to do some stuff here in Springfield because we're connected to the cons here.
Springfield, where? Missouri?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to come down there.
It's the heart of America. Yeah, you got woke people here. I run into them all the time. But the fact is this is a red-blooded American state, and our nerds are pretty red-blooded American. And I know that like Dave Stansfield and I don't know who's in charge of VisionCon anymore, but we should get a hold of them and get him.
I'd love to come down there, boys. See what you can do. You know Pop's fan Zant?
Yeah.
Well, I'm supposed to be on Pop's show too.
Wow.
With Gus Van Zandt?
Pop's fan Zant.
Oh, Pop's Van Zandt. No, I don't know who that is. Because I was like, wait, what are you doing on there with Gus Van Zandt? He's kind of a dick.
I don't know. Gus, isn't he a movie maker?
Gus, yeah. He's the guy who remade Psycho for no fucking good reason.
Didn't he also do Drugstore Cowboy?
Did he do
That's a
that?
good movie. That's a good movie.
Well, yeah, that was a good flick.
There's also
Don't get me wrong.
Cage.
He's actually done one other film I liked. I can't think of it right now. But his Elephant in the Room was crap. He tends to be a fucking idiot most of the time. But every once in a while, he nails it. But yeah, if he did Drugstore Cowboy, that was a damn good film.
Well, I would also like to mention
Matt
Paige
Dillon.
Van Zandt, who's the most beautiful of all the female martial arts fighters, and Steve Van Zandt, who is bass player for Bruce Springfield.
That's right. I love Steve, man. He's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, he's got a record label too. He puts out some great stuff.
Yeah, he did the TV series for Netflix when Netflix launched its own shows. It was shot up in Scandinavia, where he's a mobster hiding out in Scandinavia.
Oh yeah, that didn't grab me so much.
I fucking loved that show. I just
give it
absolutely
another
adored
shot.
it. I'm like, oh my god, I love his guitaring and I love him as an actor. Holy crap! But anyway, do you think your friend will show up?
No, he says he can't make it.
Oh, that sucks. Here we go. Das Wolfen says, if Mike comes to Missouri, I can get my copy of Punisher Jigsaw Puzzle trade signed.
Sure.
Actually, I would, if I were you, I'd tell him no, just for shits and giggles.
Well, it would be even better if I cut the cover up into a dozen pieces and then tape them back together.
He would have a heart attack if he did that. I'm serious. Das Wolfen couldn't take that. He would lose his mind. We know Das Wolfen in real life too. He's a friend of ours. It's funny that I don't know. There's this moment where the planets of the stars align, and I feel like the last year, despite all the shit that has happened, I mean, I lost everything in the fire except for my hard drive. That's the only thing that I was able to salvage. And I just keep pushing because Disney said it, and I took on that philosophy: always be moving forward. And I'm very grateful that I, made acquaintances with you, Chuck, Graham. I consider Graham one of my bros, man. I fucking love that guy so much.
His father was a police officer.
Yes, he was. And he is absolutely one of my favorite people. And do you think you'd be working with him on anything?
We are working on something. He's put out a book called Two-Fisted Manly Tales.
Yes.
And I have a story in there that Butch Geis is illustrating.
Oh, that's nice.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been
About
tempted.
time.
I've been tempted to take Vindicated when I finish it to Graham, because he's one of the few people I would trust with it. And because once I finish illustrating it and everything, but I might pass it by you and have you do a proof edit on it.
Wouldn't mind.
Because all of us, the thing I like about us, it's a small circle of friends we all are very like-minded, even though we're very individualistic in how we approach everything. So we don't agree with everything, but God damn it, we do think a lot alike. And I admire you. You're just a guy who doesn't give a fuck and is going to do what he's going to do. And I just fucking
wasn't
love
always
that.
the case, Gerry. But thank you. I admire you.
Well,
Well,
we
thank
need
you.
we need more people like both of you guys in the comics industry. We just do. You know.
One day, Keith, you're going to get inspired and do something. I
You know
keep
what?
pushing you. I keep pushing you.
I have had discussions of stories, ironically, with Jason Brazier, and we have talked about a few things. So,
By the
but-
way, you need to see that film, Mike. His
What?
movie, Jason Brazier's movie, The Flying Greek, is a
The
documentary
Flying
about.
Greek, is it out commercially?
No,
Not yet.
it is not yet. He is going to be doing a premiere on the 10th of December in Springfield because that's where Pappas lives, and he owns a jewelry store there. And he is a great classic wrestler. We all remember him. And I'm like, holy shit, he lives in Springfield? And the guy's like, he's going through chemo right now. But that guy still looks amazing at his age. He's in his 80s.
Yeah.
He's so fucking buff and just badass.
Oh, jeez.
And Jason, the director, said that he went to the mat with him and he knocked the shit out of him. 80-year-old, he's in his 80s, late 80s, I think, and he still kicked this young guy's ass. But it's called The Flying Greek, and if you haven't checked it out, go on YouTube and check out the trailer for it.
It's great.
I'm very excited about this film, and I think you, of all people, would probably really appreciate it. But okay, we've got Thin Blue Line, and we've got Yours and My Book that's going to be coming out. What else you got lined up, other than Two Fisted Tale short story?
Well, I'm working on a Western with Pat Broderick. It's the best work Pat's ever done in his life. And Pat's been posting art on his Facebook page. What else? I'm always working on. I'm talking with a couple other artists about projects. I'm talking with Gabe Eltai about working again with Gabe.
And isn't Richard going to be doing a horror comic with you?
That's news to me, but I will ask him.
I could have sworn it was you that he was working with on that.
Well,
yeah,
what is your
he's a good
favorite
artist.
genre to work in? I mean, now it sounds like you're really crossing over several different areas.
Well, I am. I'll just say a few principles. I'm at a stage in my life where I can't really enjoy an entertainment unless I could believe it could actually happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean it has to be hyper realistic, because I like The Equalizer with Denzel Washington is one of my favorite movies, because I believe that could actually happen. But when I watched Nobody with Bob Odenkirk, I didn't believe that could happen because it descended into farce at the end. But I tend to like crime stories, very realistic stories, very humanistic stories. My favorite genre, I'm all over the place. I'm still writing Nexus. I'm almost all the way through the new Nexus novel, and I consider that science fiction. I love.
I'm right there with you on that, Mike. By the way, it's all about the believability. The verisimilitude.
Right, and that's what I try to write, regardless of the genre, except for Florida Man.
Yeah. Are we going to see more Florida Man, by the way?
Oh yeah, we have the next Florida Man. We're going to start that early in the year, beating the drum for that.
Yeah.
It's even funnier than the first, and I thought the first was pretty funny. This one is just gonna make you seize a piston. Yeah, no, I haven't seen that Queen Latifah sax. I'm not going to watch it. I mean,
first of all, you got to believe
I can
that they
smell
can do
these
it,
things.
and there's nothing believable about Queen Latifah doing that shit. Nothing.
Yeah. Every time I turn into a new network show, it's just they have no idea how to entertain. None. There are exceptions.
CBS is the worst right now. They amazingly, they have two of my favorite shows, but that's it. Like SEAL Team is absolutely one of my favorite shows on TV. I love that show.
What show?
It's called SEAL Team.
Oh, SEAL Team, yeah.
And I just fucking love that show. And I love now that it's on Paramount, so they can cuss like real soldiers.
Great.
or real operators.
I'll see if I can get that.
One of the worst things I've seen recently was Invasion on Apple Plus.
Oh, no.
They had a Marine sitting in an office watching a computer with he had his cover on, and he's wearing his cover like he's a farmer. It's all back on his head like this. I'm like, no fucking Marine will wear his cover like that.
Well, see, they don't have a Marine advisor on the set.
No, clearly they don't. It's fucking idiotic. But I did say this to a friend of mine, Matt Decker. He was like, well, don't they hire experts for that? Advisors? I said, let me tell you something from personal experience, because I work for Dale Dye. The directors don't always listen to the fucking advisors, and they do stupid shit in their fucking movies. Saving Private Ryan is one of them. I mean, when they start yelling at that guy starts yelling at the other soldier, stop saluting him out here, get him killed. It's like, number one, you're talking full voice out in a fucking German occupied territory. You're marching too close together. Two, why don't you tell your captain to stop wearing his captain bars on the back of his fucking helmet before you start yelling at somebody else about saluting him? There was so much stupid shit.
Well, we could just pretend that the character that said that was an idiot.
Well, they all were idiots. They all said some of the dumbest shit. They all walked on a ridgeline. The first thing you're taught in military training, never walk on a ridgeline. You make a silhouette. Never do that. And it's the first thing they do is they come up on a fucking ridgeline. I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck are you guys doing? That's Spielberg. The best parts of that movie were directed by Dale Dye. And that's the combat scenes. He doesn't get credit for it, but he directed those scenes. Spielberg was playing his video game and planning Medal of Honor.
Hey, Gerry, I don't know if you could do this, but I got to bug out to do Pops, too, because I scheduled him for the same damn time period.
No, don't worry about it, man.
But if you want, I'll come back later in the day if you want to carry on, or whenever you like.
Don't worry about it. This would be good. I think everybody enjoyed it. An alien invasion series without aliens, or so I've heard. Now there are aliens in it. But I appreciate you coming on, Mike.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Thanks, guys.
Two of my favorite guests are you and Fahim. I love having you two on because you're fun to talk to. And so don't be surprised if we invite you back on a regular basis because we just like talking to you.
Return, and this time I'll make sure I'll write it down where I can see it on my forehead or my hand or something. I just hope that when I leave this room that the dogs haven't destroyed the house.
Got you, my brother. All right, Das Wolfen says, thanks for coming, Mike. And, of course, we thank you for being here. Kyle, our director, says thanks. And
thanks, guys.
I want to thank the chat for showing up. And, Mike, you have a good day today, man. A great episode, and we appreciate you coming. See you later. All right. Very good episode, man.
I liked it.
Yeah, we're still live. If anybody wants to talk, we'll talk for a few more minutes.
Sorry, guys. Doing this on my phone is a shit show, so I keep getting cut off.
No worry. Well, you lost voice, too. We couldn't even hear you when you were talking to Mike at one point. But you got the question out. That was what was important.
Yeah.
Because I knew you'd have a good question. That was a damn good question. What does the law enforcement community think of your book? I'm like, why didn't I ask that? And it made me want to punch you in the face that you asked.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's one of those things where, like, low key, like, they'd be excited about it. I know I'm excited about it, but you also about it. You also can't be. But
you're not about it. It's about it. You say about.
About, you know what? I didn't realize that until I started listening to myself on your streams, and now I know that I do say that. It drives me nuts.
I made you.
And I try not to say it, Gerry.
That's how Ryan Reynolds did it. He started listening to himself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he trained himself to lose the fucking Canadian accent.
Well, I'm going to have to work on that, I guess.
Well, you don't have to. He did it for an acting gig. I don't care. I enjoy your accent. I enjoy poking fun at it.
But I didn't believe people when they said that I sounded like that, and then I checked, and I fucking do.
Yeah, what's really trippy with me is like when I'm talking to somebody from a certain place, I will accidentally trip into their accent.
Oh, really?
And, yeah, like my buddy. If I've got a buddy from Chicago, if I'm talking to him, I'll say there instead of there.
Oh, dear.
I slip with accents when I'm talking to people from certain areas, and it's not me being a dick. It's this thing about mimicking people. I mimic people, and I learn to copy the way they speak, and I sometimes do it subconsciously. I don't mean to do it. That's how I started doing impressions. It was accidental, and I got a friend, a former business partner, up in New Jersey, and he'll start talking. I'll go, Joe, how the hell you doing? Hey. Or
that's a useful skill.
Start talking. It is. It's completely pointless. Or I'll be talking.
You can be a telemarketer.
But I can slip into accents pretty fairly easily. And I slip into my own accent accidentally too. Because when I get tired, I start saying tired. I'm so tired right now, man.
Don't say that too loud. You get canceled.
Yeah, well, tard. Well, I've said it I did it the other day on one of the broadcasts. I think somebody else's when they said something about the TARDIS, and I said we prefer not to call it that. We're PCM. We say slow time machine. And I think only one person got the fucking joke. And but I'm used to that. I've spent my entire life jumbo jetting my jokes over people's heads and not understanding what the fuck I'm talking about. But one person, and my jokes are for that one person. They're for me and that one person. And that's the one person I go, they're going to be a friend of mine because they get my fucking humor.
And they can explain it to their friends.
Yep. And that's what happened in that one. When I made the joke and the girl laughed and they said, I don't understand. And she explained why she was laughing is TARDIS as in mentally retarded. And the guy goes, oh, ha, ha, ha. That's messed up. And I'm like going, no shit, really? I said something that's messed up? Get the fuck out of here. Yes, Dust Wolf, and he is. I like having Mike on. Mike and Fahim, I've already got Fahim to agree. And by the way, did I tell you he called me on Thanksgiving, Keith? Yeah.
Wow.
I got this phone call. First, I got a message from him. And then I get the phone rings. I look at it's Fahim, and I went, "Hey, Fahim," and he goes, "Hey, boss." I love when he calls me that. And
that guy's been in so much. It's incredible.
Oh,
the work he's done.
Well, I'm kind of frustrated for him right now because I made that clip he shared from Call of Duty, Cold War. But I did not know he got hired to do the voices on there, but he wasn't hired to do voices on that game. It was on a previous game, and he was like, "Can they do that?" And I'm like, "Use your." And then I said, "Well, what contract?" And he goes, "I did not have a contract with them." And I'm like, "You're fucked. You did a voice work for a company. I think that was at Bethesda.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Bethesda, and they have every right to use your voice for whatever if you don't have a contract with them."
Call of Duty, I think, is EA, isn't it?
No.
Or
EA
Activision?
Battlefield. Activision.
Oh,
Activision.
Yeah, okay.
One but I think Bethesda is the one that is the actual game developer.
Okay.
But either way it goes, I was really shocked that he had done that. And it kind of sucks. I said, it really sucks because as an artist, you and I have the same problem. And contracts are important. As my business partner from Vindicated Inc. says, Getty, or Jetty, he calls me Jetty. He's from Scotland. When I do an impression of him, he says I sound like I'm from Pakistan. He's like, Jetty, let me tell you, mate, contracts aren't there for when things are going right. They're there for when things go wrong. And I'm like, yeah. So all my contracts are written by him. He's my contract writer. He has protected me in so many situations. You remember that attorney from New York that tried to fuck with me?
Mm-hmm.
And I outwitted him. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm fucking smarter than a lot of the lawyers. And he had lied to me about having investment dollars, and I was paid a certain amount to do the work based on out-of-pocket expense for him. But it's agreed upon that if he got an investor, that I was to get the full amount per page rate. He kept that from me, and he slipped when he was talking to Paul. And Paul's like, he calls me and he goes, "Stop all with it, God, don't do anymore." And I stopped, but I actually finished the book. The book was done, and it was on in a folder on a cloud to where this person had access to it. They were so stupid. I told them I'm not going to give it to you, but it was actually there for them to take at any point. They could have taken it. It was there. They had access to it at any point. That's how stupid they were. And I wasn't going to tell them that, yeah, it's in there if you just look. And I left it there for 4 years. And this guy paid, and I found it funny. And I even told him when he tried to threaten me once, I said, "I find it funny. You've wasted all this money railing against me, and it did nothing. When you could have just paid me the money that was due me, and you would have had your book. You know, don't lie to people cooking your food or drawing your fucking comic.
Ain't that the truth?
Don't
Definitely
fuck with your
not.
artist. You know, and but going back to Fahim, his issue is that they're using his voice on different games.
Of course they are.
And what I told him, I said, it breaks my heart to tell you, man, but if you don't have a contract, there's really nothing you can do. I said, my advice to you is to speak to your SAG rep, because he is a member of SAG. They'll get mad at him for doing something that was non-SAG related, non-union,
Right.
but they'll still advise him what to do. And I said, and you need to just consult an entertainment attorney that specializes in contracts and see what they say. But I said, the odds are they're both going to tell you there's nothing anybody can do, because without a contract, you don't really have any ground to fight him on.
Yep.
And look, they have every right to use his voice. They paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
They,
I'm not.
they consider those
condemning-
assets. They call those assets.
Yeah, and it's all it is. And so the scene is where they're in the torture scene with the Russian. The two Americans are dressed in Afghani uniforms, and they end up murdering or executing the Russian. And immediately one of the Afghan soldiers lifts his rifle up at him, tells him to put his hands up, but in Afghani. And that's Fahim. It's his voice. I spotted it immediately because I know his voice when I hear it. I was like not even watching TV one day, and an episode of, what was that show? The guy that got in trouble for masturbating in front of girls, comedian.
Oh, Louis C.K.
Yeah, Louis C.K. His TV series, Louis. And it's when he goes with the USO to Afghanistan. The tribal leader, I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I hear this yelling from somebody, because Fahim made a career of yelling as an Afghani character. He always yelling, which kind of sucks because I like it when he acts. He's a really good actor. And I turned around. I was like, I know that fucking voice. And boom, there he was on Louis. I'm like, fuck yeah. And I like called him. I'm like, I just watched Louis. You're on Louis. And he's like, yes, I'm very proud of that. I'm like, yeah, I know you are, fucker. I love him.
You couldn't have a more gracious or appreciative guy either. Like just listening to him talk about America.
He is. Few people inspire me. There's a handful of people that inspire me. One of them knows he's on camera right now. Keith inspires me a lot, and I just want to be black like him one day.
We all do.
No, Keith really does inspire me. I'm inspired by certain people in my life, and I tend to not let them know, and I should let the people know before I'm fucking dead. The impacts they had on my life, you know. And Fahim is one of those people. Dale and Julia die. They are big influencers in my life. They've had, since 2006, when I first called and spoke to Julia over the phone, just complaining about the situation in Hollywood with war movies. I said, what the fuck is wrong with Hollywood? Why can't they make a good war film? And we became friends, instant friends. And then Dale's like, son, I like the cut of your jib. And I'm like, one, I like that old phrase. I fucking love that phrase. Somebody says that's old school, man. Cut of your jib.
Yeah.
I like people who think that way, talk that way. And I just don't like when he gets irritated with me when I've done something wrong, which doesn't happen often, but when it does, my ass clenches.
He's a scary guy.
Well, he has a very authoritative officer voice, and he'll say Gerry. Always says Gerry until I need to be corrected on something. He'll say son.
Oh,
the minute
yeah.
he says son, I go, what did I do?
You're grounded.
So, but I don't know. How many people you guys have in your life that inspire you?
Oh, wow. Again, this is going to sound weird, but I mean, you do. You always have, day one.
And I'm
Mainly
such a
because,
shitty person. I don't get it.
well, I mean, here's the thing. You inspire me to invest a lot of time in being as creative as possible. You're constantly thinking of things. You're constantly being creative. That is at the heart, or partially at the heart of who you are. And it's very inspiring to always have that window open in your mind. I need to try to do that a little bit more. I'm inspired by my brothers, my twin brother especially. His fortitude. Definitely my parents. My entire family really inspires me. And a lot of my friends. I mean, I get something out of all my relationships that I have in some way. There is something that I admire about them because that's the reason why they're in my life. I get something from each and every person that is a friend of mine. It doesn't matter who they are or how long I've known them. If you're my friend, I get something out of that. And hopefully I'm able to give something back.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Kyle?
Well, my wife for sure. She's been through a lot.
She's there, isn't she?
She's home. Yeah, she's here. We're gonna make gingerbread men soon. So it's but no, she does. She's fought through a lot, including cancer, and she beat that. And she like not just like the medical aspect, but just the way that she like her strength of will when she pushed through the treatment. And there was a nurse that said like the people who don't get up and don't move don't ever leave. And she got up and she moved, and it like step by step, and she got stronger, and now she's healthy. But it's a will thing at the end. Like it really was. And we saw people in that same wing who never left because they didn't force themselves to get up because it hurt too much. And she did. So she's a big one.
Well, you tell her hi from me and congratulations.
I will. Thank you.
That's fantastic. I had no idea, buddy. That's just fantastic.
Yeah, we were lucky. Her sister was a perfect match for stem cell transplant.
Stem cell. I was about to say bone marrow. Okay, stem cell.
Cool. Yeah, it's same idea. But they tried a couple rounds of chemo. It didn't work. And so they had to go the harshest level of chemo they could do without actually killing her. And they do that, and then they gave her sister stem cells, and recovery started. So it was, I'm very proud of her.
Well, this is, even though I'm an agnostic, I still say this, God bless her.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's the Catholic in me. I have an altar boy that lives in me, and I'm shit you not, he exists. It's so funny when he comes out. He comes out at the most inopportune moments and embarrasses me. Like if a girl does sexy talk with me, I blush.
You do?
Mm-hmm. Yes. This is where I learned. I found out about it because when I was in the Army, the guys invited me to go to a titty bar. And I didn't want to go. That's the altar boy in me. I don't want to go.
Wow.
And so I went. I've gone twice in my whole life. And I went and I walked out. I couldn't take it. And then 20 years later, I worked for TruckNet, and Craig Zweiner and I, with the iFleet company, we go out on my buddy Benjamin Hendy's credit card. He got stuck with the bill for that night, and it cost him his job with the company. That was so shitty of some of the managers to do that. They stuck him with that fucking bill for the titty bar. So we go to this titty bar in Atlanta, And they start laughing because I kept my eyes down the whole time. I wouldn't look up. If a girl walked up to me, I'd look down. And they talk to me. I go, no, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. No, thank you, ma'am. And Craig had just was blown away. God rest him. He's dead now. He was one of my favorite people, my former boss. He was one of the few people that really understood me as a person. And that's so rare because most people think they understand me, but they don't. But he fucking got me in a way that was almost creepy. He just really was very perceptive of who I was. And that's why he would use me to read people when he'd have business meetings. He'd have me over in a corner. And they're like wondering, who the fuck is this guy sitting in on this meeting? He doesn't talk. He's just sitting there in the corner watching us. My job was to get a read on him because that's what I do. I get reads on people. I can read people. It's really weird talent I have. I can do cold readings and all that weird shit, but I do emotional pinging. I can read people's intent on their face and through their voice. And I could tell.
What happened with Craig? Do you mind me asking?
Craig and I stayed friends. We could never work together again because he boned us over money. And he tried to get me to work with him multiple times. Said, Craig, if you want to stay friends, stop asking me to work with you. I don't.
Oh yeah.
You and I are good friends. But he got cancer, and it broke my heart because the last 4 months of his life he wouldn't talk to us. He wouldn't talk to me. I was the lead pallbearer at his funeral. That's how close of friends we were. And I spoke at his funeral. But he would not call. He would not take calls because he didn't want us to remember him the way he was in the end. He wanted us to remember him the way he was. Oh, ha, ha, you son of a bitch. He was one of those people. Well, let me tell you. Big burly bear of a human fucking being. Hairy as shit. The guy had a beard all the time. Like, I get this spotty shit. He grew a fucking hair up to his lips. That guy was a fucking human grizzly bear. Built like one, too. Fucking chain smoked. I fucking love that man in so many ways. He aggravated me, frustrated me, but I still loved him. And it broke my heart when he died. And I'm still close with the family. What really sucks about that family is he and his son died within 1 year of each other. His son died of an accidental overdose. And that was a kid I taught drumming. I taught him to drum. He's one of the few people that listened to me when I would try to teach them how to play an instrument. And he became a very good, better than me drummer. He was better than me in the end. That guy was fucking great. Fucking, Lebanon, Missouri, man. Drugs, so bad there. It's so prevalent. The Ozarks was the capital of meth in the United States until South America and Central America started producing it cheaper. But that's where all the meth in the United States came from for years. That's why in Missouri and parts states touching Missouri have laws about buying what is that stuff? The cold medication.
Yes, pseudoephedrine or ephedrine or something like that.
Sudafed.
Yeah.
And they're still funky about it, even though nobody produces meth here in the U.S. anymore. It's all from South America and Mexico. But if the altar boy in you is keeping you from looking at naked women at a titty bar, he might be a little gay. No, he's just very childlike. It's embarrassing when he comes out. And it's funny to women when it happens because I actually turn beet red. So I suspect Fat Steven has an altar boy in his basement. Yes, and we keep asking him to release him. But what do you do? We don't know where he lives. We don't know his real name. So what are you going to do? You can't call the cops on him.
That's right. He's a genius.
Yes, Dustwolf, and cancer sucks. Cancer is just awful. Oddly, my dad beat cancer too. God, my dad was a dick. It was a rough period, the last 10 years of his life between him and I. But one of the funniest things was, when he would always tell me, he goes, well, you're born with that goddamn asthma, so that'll be what kills you. And then, of course, I got diagnosed with degenerative bone disease in my neck, and it's having an impact on my spine. And inevitably, it will probably kill me. you know, it'll paralyze me. And I laughed and I said, "Ha ha, fuck you, Dad. Asthma's going to lose." Asthma's not getting me. My spine is, motherfucker. But
at least you can laugh about it.
Oh, I wish he was here because I miss my dad a lot. As much of an ass as he was, he and I got in some of the best debates, man. And my dad, in his own way, inspired me a lot. He inspired me to be a better father, and I was a better father. I hurt his feelings a lot, but he deserved it. He earned it. You know, like I told him one time, I said, "Yeah, you inspire me as a dad." And he goes, "Really?" I said, "Yeah. Whenever Zoe has an issue or I need to do something, I think about what you would do, and then I would do the opposite." My dad was like, "Fuck you."
Take inspiration where you can get it.
You know, and but I was notoriously mean to my dad with humor. I would fuck with my dad. I got him to believe that he wasn't my dad once. That it was just a malicious fucking prank because I like pranking people. And the more thought, I mean, you got to really think about it. So I went to his house and I told him, I said, "I'm so glad," because I just moved back to town to go to college. "I'm so glad we're in the same town. If you get sick or if I get sick, we're there for each other. We can donate blood." And he goes, "Oh, you're AB positive?" And I went, "No, I'm O positive, like you." He goes, No, I'm AB positive." I said, "Dad, you can't be AB positive because Mom is A positive. And you have one or both my parents have to be my blood type. It's a law. It's a law of science. You can't have a different blood type as a parent. It's either one or both." And he goes, "Well, I'm telling you, I'm AB positive." And he started getting really angry. He had those arm, you know, because he was disabled. He's like got up on those crutches and he's wandering the house looking for something. I said, "Well, Dad, I'm just telling you, you know, you have to be. You're wrong, you know." And finally, he picks up this card and he throws it at me like a shuriken, hits me in the chest. And I look at it and it shows his blood type on it. And he says, "So I told you." And I was raging. He was raging. And I looked at it. I said, "You're AB positive. That's not you." And then he looks at me and goes, "What?" And I said, I got to go. And I got up and I left.
Did you ever tell him the truth?
No, wait for it. I knew that it was going to take him a day to figure out where to contact to get my birth records because he didn't have a copy. I knew that it would take approximately 3 days for his check to get there and possibly up to 5 days for that check to clear, 5 to 10 days. And then I figured it would take 3 to 5 days for them to send the birth records to him. So I figured I had about 2 weeks. And I think it was like about 10 days later, I get a phone call. And this is before caller ID. And I pick up the phone. I went, "Hello?" He goes, "Fuck you, son of a bitch." And I called him and I said, "Dad?" And he goes, "Fuck you, you son of a bitch." Hangs up on me again. And then he would just pick it up and hang it up, pick it up and hang it up. And then finally he just took it off the hook. And he didn't talk to me for like, I think 4 or 5 weeks. He was so fucking angry. But it's a great fucking prank. I fooled him into thinking I was gay once. And right when I pulled the ripcord on that one to really let it go, because I was living with a gay roommate at the time. And I told him, I said, you know, and this is exactly how I phrased it. I said, "Yeah, it's like the last year has been such a change in my life. Moving in with Travis, and that's his name, Travis Smith. And Travis and I, you know, we're such good friends. And I said, but it grew, you know, and when he kisses and touches me," and I looked at my dad and my dad's lips went blue, cyanotic blue. And he just, I thought he was going to stroke out right then and there in front of me. And I'm just fucking with you, Dad. I'm still straight. I like girls. And that one went on for weeks. I had set that one up over weeks, you know, introducing him to my roommate. And I'm a very malicious, funny person. I can just be really mean. I once, when I was a paramedic, one of the females that was on our unit was out on a call, and I took her real ferret and hid it in another room, and one of the closets upstairs.
Did you say ferret?
Ferret. And I had bought a realistic stuffed ferret. One for sleeping with, a cute one. I bought it, and then I sprayed it with a fine mist of water and put it in the fucking freezer. And right when we heard their call sign that they were all clear and heading back to the station, I waited about 2 minutes, and then I ran downstairs with that thing out of the freezer, put it back in her little cage next to her bed. And we all went back up, and we're in the TV room watching TV in the rec room. And all of a sudden you hear this blood-curdling scream.
Yeah, that's borderline evil, Gary.
and then followed by, "Fuck you, Gary. I know it was you." I used to be really evil. I'm still kind of evil. Tom is wicked. I'm evil. Because we talk about it all the time. Because Tom and I are a lot alike. And but I think that I'm evil and he's wicked is the way he phrased it, and I agree with him.
So guys, I have to go decorate some gingerbread men, so I'm gonna bail.
Yeah, it's time for us to end the show. Oh my God, Keith, you were even blacker than normal. You were totally black. Is that can black people do blackface? Is that a thing?
Maybe.
I love you, man. That was a great show, guys. It was fun having Mike on. We managed to do another 20 minutes. Just shooting the shit and me telling fucked up stories.
And yesterday was great too, actually, with Jason.
Oh, Jason's great, dude. I want to have him as a regular panelist, and I made fun of him on the show. It's like, dude, just show up is what you do. Don't invite. I'm not going to drag you to be a panelist. You got to come. You got to want to.
Yeah.
Yes, 6. Yeah, it's fucked up. I also actually know Steven's real name. I won't say it. I keep it secret. I also know Script Doctor's real name. I won't say it. It's very important that we keep certain people in particular because it can have an impact on them. Script Doctor in particular because of his profession, his career.
100%.
And also because he's in Canada, and Canada people are weird.
We are.
I'm sorry, not Canada people, Canadians.
Yes, people of Canada. POC.
Blame Canada.
No,
that's fine. But I want to thank everybody for showing up. This will go public in a few days. I think. What day should we do it, Kyle?
Monday.
You want to do it Monday? All right. This video will go public. Keith, you and I don't know if you'll be available because you're going to be doing the Babylon 5 thing.
Yeah.
What time are you planning to make it live, Kyle?
After Babylon 5's over. So maybe 6 p.m. Central.
That's my call. 6 one? Yeah, 6 will be good. You'll be done with the Babylon 5 show by then, right?
I should be, yeah.
Okay.
If it's not done, I'll wait till after it's done.
Okay. But we'll make this public then. It's important to respect anyone's privacy regardless of their profession. I don't really agree with that. Of course, privacy is privacy. I mean, medical in particular, we talked about that on the other video that we did with Hawk and I don't know her real name.
Yeah, I have no idea what her real name is.
But
Loot.
We did a video.
We'll just call him Loot.
And we talked about mental illness, and mental illness is something really, unless that person wants to talk about it, you don't fucking talk about it. It's nobody's fucking business.
Yeah.
Right. But people's identities, especially on YouTube, I don't give a shit. Look, man, people know who the fuck I am. Keith too. They know who we are. If people want to hate us, they're going to fucking hate us. I don't give a shit. I'm not going to hide behind a moniker. But that's me. I've told Steven, I've just always been one of those people that just doesn't give a fuck what people think about me. I want people to like me, but if they don't, I don't lose any sleep over it. And if they're rude about it, I like to be mean to them. And Keith's seen me be mean. I've been mean to people. I've said some mean shit to people and made them look stupid. And But privacy, I get it. When people want their privacy, you're fucking welcome to it. And but I really, really pay attention to it in particular with people's careers because, especially on YouTube, it can have adverse effects on their careers.
Right now it can, yeah.
It's too politically charged. People need to be more like Keith and I because we're politically opposed and yet we're fucking besties. And you and I have discussed politics. We don't agree, and yet we're fucking friends. Look, you can actually be okay not agreeing with somebody.
Well, I mean,
you don't have to be a cunt.
It's like I said once. It's like Thanksgiving in a way. Some people enjoy turkey. Some people enjoy ham. It's not about you having to have the same thing I do. It's about celebrating the actual day.
I think that instead of ham and turkey, let's bring up chitlins because there's only two ways that I will eat chitlins, and I get it because I will not fucking eat boiled chitlins. No meat should be gray. There's no such thing as gray meat. And some go both ways. Are we talking about Thanksgiving here? What are you talking about, Dust Wolf?
I was talking about Thanksgiving. I don't know what you're talking about.
Is he confiding in us something? That,
I think he is.
I got nothing for anything else that you may divine out of that. So,
yeah, backdoor Gerry goes all the way. Fuck you. But thank you guys for showing up. Appreciate it. I'm glad that Kyle was here because he asked really the best question of the episode. We had some good questions, but Kyle nailed it with the best question. And I appreciate that, man. It's unbelievable because you're Canadian.
I
know. I love Canadians. It's just so fun to poke fun at you guys because you're so goddamn nice.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. And just so you know, I really appreciate you. You have made my life so much easier.
Good. I'm glad I can help. It's fun.
You've not made it easy. My life is not easy, but you've made it easier. And that means a lot to me. Because I talked about you to Pat and to Mike, both Mexican Iron Man.
Yeah.
And because they were like, should we fire him? And I'm like, no.
Wow.
They just wanted to know how I felt about working with you. And I said, I fucking love Kyle. Kyle's doing things that I didn't even ask him to do, and he's doing them. And I'm like, thank you. You are helping with the algorithm, the stuff you're doing. And by the way, after the show, I'm going to watch the video you made. Okay. I'm actually looking forward to the snippet you take from this one because Mike had some really interesting things to say.
Yeah, he did. This will be good.
Yeah, I think.
And I want to take from
and Jason's last night. Oh my gosh. Yeah. There are a couple of things he said last night that has to be put to separate videos. God.
Yes.
I'm so glad I got you helping me, buddy.
Yeah, and I can bookmark those, so that's good. Yep.
Yeah, excellent. Six, thank you so much for being here, even with the backdoor Gerry thing. Dust Wolfen, of course, love you, man. Deleted Scenes, love you too, man. I love all you guys. Who else was here? Did anybody else show up? Because this is such a messed up day. Yeah, it doesn't look like everybody showed up. It's okay. More people will see it once we make it public.
Yeah.
But I feel like we need to do stuff like this and Saturday's a good day to do our members only videos.
And probably.
Then broadcast them live later. And
do a premiere.
Yeah, or premiere. Yeah, it's not broadcasting live. It's premiering live because I'll be in the chat, and if Keith's available, he'll be there, and we can talk to people. So thanks again, everybody, for showing up. Thanks, Kyle. Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you.
I wish I could.
Thank you, Gerry.
Better.
Take care of yourself, Keith.
Keith, you take care, brother, and I'll see you guys later.
Okay.
All right.